Hey guys, my name is Ryan, and we're back again with another Spirit Island video. Today, we're playing a game as Keeper against Sweden 6. But this is not just any game of Keeper against Sweden 6. One of the guys on Discord put up a little project, a little game where there is this one specific save file, and myself and a few other people are all playing the exact same save file. And so that means that, as you can see, the game's already started, the game's already been generated. We're all going to have the exact same invader deck. All the fear cards are going to be the same. The order of the cards and the minor and major powers, everything is going to be the exact same. And the point is that we're all going to record exactly what our moves are so we can compare different playstyles and preferences to see if we can derive some cool information to see how different people will approach the same problem. And so this is my submission for that project. Like I said, it is against Sweden 6 playing as Keeper. And so before we get started, I guess I should put my presents out. But before you even start a game, there's a lot of thinking that goes into the pre-game portion, even before you see the board that you're playing on. And you could even consider the initial explore part of your pre-game thinking because you haven't made any decisions yet by that point. But for starters, if you think about the curve of Sweden, so this is like, like your strength over time. Sweden starts high and then they fall off. Whereas Keeper is going to start low and ramp up. Our starting hand is pretty terrible. In fact, we quite literally can't do anything with any of our starting cards, especially on this board where we can't even do a blight removal. Like our hand is just empty text. It doesn't do anything at all, at least nothing productive on the board. I guess pushing Dahan is technically something, right? But we're really good at gaining lots of cards, right? And we're going to gain lots of cards. We have tons of energy, tons of card plays, and so we ramp up in strength like crazy. Whereas Sweden starts with a fantastic board position, and then they fall off pretty quickly if you're able to suppress their aggression. So really what we know in this matchup is that we're trying to find this point in the game. We're just trying to stay alive until all of a sudden we basically just have inevitability because we're just going to have so much more energy and power relative to the invaders. So that's like the pre-game thinking with Keeper in this matchup. But now, as we're looking at this board, we can see that we have a very narrow path at the start of the game. Since if we want to get out of our initial starting land on turn 1, we always have to make a Sacred Site. We have to add a Wilds with our Right Innate is really the primary way we're going to do that. And this can't target a Blighted land. So that means we know on turn 1, we're growing here into the 7. Turn 2, we're putting at least one presence here into the 4. It's very restricted. If Sweden were to have an initial explore into the wetlands, that's going to be a really bad time. And into the mountains, it'll be really rough. If it's jungles, that's great. We might take one blight here. We'll basically have to see how well we draft. But, we get that free start. Sands wouldn't be so bad either. The point is that wetlands would be absolutely devastating to get started with, and mountains would be pretty rough as well. So the early game is definitely when we need a little bit of luck to go our way. We kind of like to dirtle around and do nothing for the first turn of the game, whereas Sweden is getting ready to punch you right in the mouth. So before I just talk myself off like crazy, let's see. The initial explore is wetlands. Woof. All right, and we get our royal backing in the mountains. Okay. So we can't get mountains as our stage 1 explore. However, we are looking at an escalation threat over here. At least all of these Dahan are really easy to have come together. We're forced to grow a sacred site here, so might as well just do that. Making a sacred site pushes Dahan, so we'll just compress everything here. It gives us an energy. And we're going to gain a power card. Yeah, Strife would be the best here. Because we could do like a Sacrosanct Wilderness. Like we drop a wild here, Sacrosanct Wilderness, kill the town, Strife the city, and then we're, sitting in a good place. Actually, maybe we do this and just take a constancy. We constancy our Boon of Growing Power. We wind up in a very similar place. We just wind up with some extra energy. And constancy in solo is not nearly as good as constancy in multiplayer because it basically just gives you a negative card play. But Keeper tops out at 5 card play, so we can afford to keep on fitting constancies into our play pattern. I don't think Sky's Herald's going to do anything for us. Gift of Power is basically just an off-element version of Boon of Growing Power. The difference here is that Boon can get a major and Gift cannot. In the early game, we really care about that Sun. Yeah, that's not going to do anything. I guess Delusions of Danger can target the 5. That's the big reason why we would consider taking it. But I'm going to take this constancy here. I'm going to do this. Very good chance we're reclaiming constancy this turn. And it's actually interesting, because we took the constancy, we're not actually obligated to grow into the 4 anymore. We could start with a G4, putting our presence like out here or something. And then we can, double grow like out here. Right? We could double grow into the 1 and move both of these towns. That is an option. We're still going to have to add the wilds to the 4. But we could do like a Sacrosanct Wilderness to save some of those Dahan if we picked up like a Strife adding card, and we could make a Sacred Site over here, Strife the city, and then that counterattack and clear, lose a Dahan, probably add a town to the 7, and life goes on. All of that is possible if we get like a Fire in the Sky. Anyways, let's see our first event. We get to skip Remnants of a Spirit's Heart. This doesn't really do much of anything in this matchup. Jungles. Okay. Let's gain a minor. Sap. There we go. Sap. If we can pick up an air in this narrow situation, Sap accomplishes the exact same goal as I was talking about with the Strife, because it's ultimately a defend 5. Call of the Dahan Ways is interesting. It lets us play around escalations. We do have a Moon. Confounding Mist is just going to be worse than Sap. Song of Sanctity is not the winning ticket. Yeah, I'm going to take the Sap here. And then we're going to push you out, adding a Wilds. And I get a reclaim. I'm going to take this constancy back. I'm thinking I'm going to start with a G3, because if we pick up an air card, this sounds crazy, right? But like, we could do something like this. We could go up to 3 card plays immediately, which I feel like is a constancy special build. And we play Sacrosanct, Sap, plus any air card that we draft. With our options being Lure. Sad. If we had pushed like this way, that would have been silly, but if we had pushed towards a 3, we could have taken the Explorer from the 6 to the 5 with this Lure. That would have been spicy. Entrancing Apparitions is going to be way too small of a defend, and it's basically just going to be a worse version of Lure. Yeah, if we take this Tormenting Rotflies, And then we go bottom track here. Then we go for +1 energy, adding a presence off of G3 here, making a sacred site, pushes 2 Dahan. Let's gain some energy. We're going to go sap, rot flies, and wilderness. And the benefit of this is like this Dahan, one Dahan's going to die. We're going to push 2 Dahan out, and then we're going to be escalation proof. So that'll be very nice. Let's add our defend 5 right here. 2 damage, push 2 Dahan. Oh, that's fine. We only have 1 sun in play. So yeah, we can't even push and explore. All we get to do is hope to add a lucky wilds. If we don't get a back-to-back, we can add a wild here, or the wetlands, or the mountains. Yeah, we have targets. Event. Oh, wow. Prey on the Heedless. Okay. That's insane. That's an insanely nice nice one. And oh my. Oh. Okay, you win some, you lose some. We're not going to take any blight, and we're not going to take any builds, but we're going to be open to escalations in the wetlands. If this is a wetlands here, then this is a very spicy seed. I don't know if this is a manufactured seed or not, but I don't know. Anyways, here we are. So we're going to ravage. Only 1 explorer, 1 Dahan participate. No builds. And all right, I think I think someone might have had a little bit of fun putting this one together. Tormenting rotflies. I think we're going to. Can we wild here, disease here? We're going to have to do this growth next. Okay. If we grow here, we can make a sacred site and attack the 2. We're putting the disease in the 4 so that way we can sap it. The plan is to sap the 4. If we could have added a wild, we would have added to the 2 so we could make a sacred site in the 2, pushing the Dahan out and then going from there. We can add wild to the 3 because we have the extra range. So this is something worth considering. We add the wilds to the 3 so we can grow here, push things towards the 4, and then Towering Wrath is going to be too slow here in the 2. This Dahan is probably a goner. But the idea is that we can set up like a... setting up our Towering Wrath in these lands. I think I like going here. Also because if we do take Blight in the wetlands, we're kind of blocked from accessing this corner. So it's helpful that way as well. I think we're going to do this. Okay, let's gain an energy. Gain a miner. Oh, and that energy, yeah, we come across top track. And... oh, I bet you someone had a lot of... I don't know. I really truly wonder if this was a manufactured seed. Because like with this call to trade, right? Like let's say that we get a mountains next, right? We can gather the town out and we can add a wild to the land number 1 to fully solve that 1. And then, this becomes the problem to deal with. Maybe I'm paranoid. But call to trade just makes sense here, right? Because we're going to be staring down something in the ballpark of a 12 damage ravage. And that seems like a lot to deal with. Since we have inevitability, we know that if we just survive the early game, we don't need to win the early game, we just need to not lose the early game. then we'll be a-okay. Here, we kind of have nothing to do. Like, we'll constancy like a Towering Wrath just to like put cards on the table. Um, we could even do like a regrow from roots so that way we get the extra plant and we can get 2 damage. You know, we can like hit this, hit this. Nothing too crazy to look at right now. Okay, place a town instead of an explorer. Add a beast to a land. No blight with town. So we're definitely going to go here. Just random chances to kill explorers and stuff. You always want to put your beasts in the land where you're weaker. Okay, Ravage. Build. Exploring the coast. And one of them is going to come in as a town instead of an explorer. So we got a wilds. Let's put our town here and our explorer here. And then we can Towering Wrath plus Innate to empty out the 1. And this gives us 2 extra fear. Jungle Wetlands doesn't give us anything. We only played it for the elements. So I think we're going to wind up playing Call to Trade 2 turns in a row to solve the land 2 for 2 turns in a row. Oh, we also got to add wilds. And we're running out of places where we can add these wilds. So, yeah, we'll go there. Reclaim, gain energy. G3 going here to gain another energy. And from here, we're going to call to trade. The funny thing is we don't want a Towering Wrath yet into the 2 because that's going to kill the Dahan. And it's going to make it such that we will not be able to call to trade again next turn. We'd get 4 damage killing 2 towns, but then we'd be staring down 12 damage again. It just doesn't make sense. We know we need to play this sap, and this already has the air on it. So we have 1 last card play, and we want to get another sun. We could just constancy, since we know we're going to take this call to trade back anyways. But on the other hand, like this is very this skips a turn and like gains no forward progress whatsoever. Whereas something if we did like a boon of growing power, this does give us an extra. Oh, we don't have a fire. Never mind. I was gonna say it could give us the innate here, but at least this boon of growing power, we can gain a major, and we can use that to shape our game plan. Because we've been very lucky dodging the 8. But we need to come up with a plan for the 8 immediately. We do have a little bit of time of safety now away from the 2. We have 3 turns before the 2 can be threatened again. So we need to draft a solution for the 8. Defend you for 5. Maygather. And then we're going to turn this into a build. Okay, Fortune Seekers. Disease, there are none. And, yeah, Dahan in our lands, we're keeper. So this one is largely a nothing burger. Gather a town into a coastal land, not applicable. Ravage, you build, and you die. Build the coast. Exploring everything. So we're going to explore everything, and then there's no escalation. Or at least everything that does not have a building. So we go here, 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 and here. Slow phase. probably going to look to dump this Sacrosanct Wilderness. Let's gain a major. Alright, so this Smothering Infestation could be the ticket to solve the 2. Because there's already a beast there, we can also consider taking a Sea Monsters. Sea Monsters produces more fear, and we don't need to grow into the land. So I'm quite likely to play it on this next turn. You know, we have more than enough energy. Gonna do a double growth to get the reclaim in order to pick up the call to trade again. So we're gonna be at what, 7 energy next turn. So we can afford the Sea Monsters. But we do have, if we play this, then we can immediately threshold the Smothering Infestation, and it's cheaper, so we could pair it with this Towering Wrath. We wanted a solution for the 8, but, I mean, nothing here is going to solve it. We need, like, a range 1 power that doesn't add Blight to, like, really solve it. So we're going to be swinging for another major. And we get to do our right innate, since we know that, first off, we can't escalate into the wetlands anymore. It's already popped up. But it's also going to be very quiet for a long time. So we can just do that there, and when he finally comes back around to it, it'll add an Explorer in a town, and that'll be a 6 damage Ravage. So we can still defend it for 5. So on this next turn, we're going to... We only want to add 1 presence into the 2, because we need this Dahan to still be there for targeting purposes for that call to trade. So we can't make a Sacred Site there. And so for that reason... I wonder if it makes sense for us to do something like that instead. So we can G2 here, G3 here, and we can always like sacrosanct this later. Yeah, that actually makes more sense. Okay, so yeah, we'll have that be how that goes. So we're gonna gain an energy, add a presence here, pay 3 energy. Oh, and I never forgot a card for the Smothering Infestation. We'll forget this Rotflies. And, like, how's that for a grip of cards? We want a... So we need a Miner. We paid our 3 energy. Let's gain a Miner for this. Probably just going to take this Hazard Spread. Because we're going to hit the Reclaim on you. So that's a lock. That probably a lock. Mostly just because of energy restrictions. We're definitely playing you. If we were to take this Hazard Spread, that would give me another Fire Element. We could also do Elusive Ambush for that reason, but we don't really care about Dahan stuff. So if we do this, gives us access to tons of damage. We can split it up amongst different lands. And a very fun trick you can do, by the way, is you can have Punish Those Who Trespass, like target here, and then have it split the damage between 7 and 2. And because we targeted the 7, that's where we have to kill the Dahan, and we can do damage in a land that has Dahan, but we don't have to kill anything. So that's a fun little trick. Though it's probably going to die to the Towering Wrath anyways. That is a satisfying one. Yeah, and now, right, so we've got that, this is like the moment where now we just win. As soon as we skip this Ravage here, which we're going to do with the Call to Trade, the game is basically won. The game is pretty much over. We've got all the tools that we need. It's pretty reliable to draft into a solution for the 8, considering, we're about to hit the 5/5 moment. Let's do a Hazard Spread. Let's add a Beast out here. Ooh. Also, actually, we could use Hazard Spread to add a Wild to the 8. allowing us to grow into that land, which is important because we have like the range 0 from this innate here. So I'm going to throw a wilds down here. We're going to grow in, even if it's either going to be sands or mountains. So even if sands comes up, we're going to grow into the 8 just to get a presence in there. If it does wind up exploring the 8, then like whatever, so sad. But I like that. I didn't even consider that when I took the card. Yeah, that's how we're going to access these lands. Anything else in the fast? Yeah, we got some energy. Ooh. Well, this is another way that we can access those blighted lands. I'm very interested in that. Yeah, because we could use the Sacrosanct Wilderness to solve the 7. So we could just go like this. And then we're not going to be blocked out. I like that a lot. So what do we have to do? We have to forget a card to gain and then gain 2 energy. Regrow from roots. We're doing a very good job. We really don't need this regrow. Disease doesn't prevent Bill's invader phase. Fear with disease. We don't have disease. And then defend 2. Cool. That's defended. Okay, Ravage. 1 damage, 1 damage. And then this will build instead of ravaging. Building you. Exploring the mountains. Okay, cool. Do that. Slow phase. Now, okay, how much do we have with this innate here? We have 2 plus 3, so we get 5 damage. So we'll full clear you. We're certainly going to use our innate. Do this. And we'll hit that with a Sacrosanct Wilderness. We're going to use our innate to do 4 damage in the mountains, and I guess we could like ping the city to set up a Smothering plus Towering Wrath combo in that land. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Here, we're going to do 1 damage to each invader, also 2 fear and a disease, and add 3. But let's do the 1 damage to each invader first. And ultimately, we're going to get a total of 7 damage between 3 here and then the 4 here. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Kill everything besides 1 town. And it kills that Dahan. And we get 2 fear from the Towering Wrath. That utilizes everything. So we go to Time Passes. We do get a Reclaim 1 because of that constancy. So we know we're playing the Sacrosanct Wilderness this turn. And our board setup is perfect. I mean, the game is pretty much just won. If we have a way to kill this town fast, we just win the game here. But I don't think we do. We're going to grab a new major this turn, but as far as what to reclaim, I think Towering Wrath is a pretty reasonable. It's expensive. So we can't get the Sapper or the Boon, by the way, because these are the cards that we just played. And, I mean, you could always just go for constancy, just to, like, put it out there. Yeah, we'll take you. We still get a Reclaim 1, so we still get options. Anyways, we're going to... It doesn't make sense. I don't think we need the double growth. Like, this plant is not worth 3 energy. So I'm just going to gain a major with G2. That's my only fast victory option. We could push Dahan 1 and 1, defend the land, and then Vigor. But that seems... Or wait a second, hold on. If I take Vigor, that's 1, 2, 3 sons. Do I have an animal to reclaim? I do. That is the victory right there. So we gain Vigor for getting Call to Trade. And then I gain an energy and grow here. I have my reclaim 1 for the turn, will be the sap. So we play both of these cards, gain, pay, thresholded, 2 damage per. We get to push them into 2 different lands, and then they each do 2 damage. So this will be a Terra level 2 victory in the turn 6 fast phase. Here we go. So that's my submission for this little project, and I will be back tomorrow to compile everyone's results. Thank you guys so much for watching. Have yourselves a glorious day.